here's how to turn your bad habits slash weaknesses slash bad behaviors, and we all have them, into strengths that serve you and help you go further faster. And it's so ridiculously simple that most people will go, I'm not sure if that'll work, and that's too simple. But if you do what I say, I promise you, you'll condition yourself to default to better habits. You'll literally switch those bad ones into good. And so for starters, always, always, always make sure you got a pad and paper, something you can take notes with, because I'm not going to just tell you something. I'm going to give you something that you can do, that as you do it, you're going to get the results that we're talking about here. And in this case, replacing pattern. We call it pattern replacement, because all a bad habit is a pattern of behavior, a pattern of thinking, feeling, and doing something that is undesirable. And so it's super, super simple. And the reason I want you to take notes is, I always say this, is what you write is what you invite into your life. And as soon as you write it down, you start to imprint it onto your brain, into your nervous system, so it becomes a belief system inside of you, and then it becomes automatic. And so let's talk about what a bad habit is, or a bad behavior is. A habit is something that you do, I'm not going to say uncontrollably, but unconsciously, that you do because you feel like if you do it, you're going to feel better. Let's say, like, for example, and I'm not making any judgments, say smoking cigarettes. We know that's a bad habit, right? I don't think there's anybody on the planet now that doesn't at least recognize that smoking cigarettes is bad for you. But it's a habit. And people that smoke cigarettes, they will do it because if they smoke it, they believe it's going to get them feeling better in the moment, regardless of how bad it is going to be for them. And they find themselves doing it unconsciously. And they find themselves talking themselves out of the logic of not doing it. Now, along with smoking cigarettes, obviously there's a physical aspect, because the nicotine gets inside of your system and it causes you to crave them as well. And this goes along with a lot of things. But did you know that any habit, good or bad, carries with it a chemical response, or a hormone response, a substance response within our system that causes us to want to continue to do that? Said differently, even good behaviors, things that you love to do that are good for you, walking or running or exercising or something like that. Did you know that when you do those things, the body releases hormones, endorphins, dopamine, oxytocin, adrenaline, and things like that make us go, oh, this feels good, I'm going to do it again. And then when we do it again, and we do it again, and we feel good, we get some sort of relief from it, then our nervous system, because repetition is the mother of all skill, the nervous system goes, let's just do it automatically. That's how we've done everything in our lives. Tie our shoes, ride a bicycle, drive a car, write your name, brush your teeth, anything is through repetition. You've done it over and over again, and your system finally says, oh, this is part of who we are, let's just do it. So if you have a bad habit, chances are that habit has come about through repetition, through time. And remember, it doesn't have to make sense. Just like I said, smoking cigarettes or overeating or anything like that, even though logically we know it's not helpful for us, even though logically we know it makes us procrastinate, even though logically we know it sets us back, even though logically we know in the future it's going to harm us. But it's what happens in the moment, how we feel in the moment, that makes the biggest difference on what we will do. So having said that, I'm going to give you the steps. First, I want you to write this down. And this is habit, or shall I say bad habit, search and destroy, or shall I say seek and destroy. You know how, like in the military, they have a special group of people, group of men or women, Navy SEALs or special forces or whatever, and they send them out, and those people go out and they find the target, they seek it, they find the target, and then they kill it, that destroy it. So that's what we want to do with bad habits, okay? So step number one, and you want to write this down. Find the habits you want to replace. Find the habits that are costing you. Find the habits that you don't like. All of them, not some of them, all that you can think about. And so your first step is what you're going to do is you're going to get out your pad and paper or whatever. And I know, when I say write it down, this is where a lot of people go, I don't know, whatever. But as you do this, remember, what you write is what you invite, and you also commit it to your nervous system and make it something that's real. And so what you want to do is you want to get out your pad and paper, and I want you to list every bad habit that you have. All of them. Not just the ones that you can think of that are costing you the most. Every single one of them. Why? Because what happens is, first off, remember, I said it's in your nervous system, it's in your head, it's a belief system inside of you. But as soon as you write it down, as silly as this sounds and as simple as it sounds, it takes it out of your head, out of your unconscious mind, and puts it on something that's tangible in front of you. It's how you get out of overwhelm. It's how you get out of worry, whatever. Write it down. So you can say, I smoke cigarettes, or I procrastinate, or I don't exercise, or I overeat, or whatever. Everything that you possibly can. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself right now, well, if I write that down, I'm going to feel bad. And you might in the moment. But remember, everything goes in steps. So as you're writing it down, here's what's happening inside of your brain. Your brain is going, oh, there's this. Oh, there's this. Oh, there's this. Now watch as I do it. I'm going to exaggerate as I do it. Your brain goes, oh, there's this. Oh, there's this. Oh, even though you know it, your eyebrows are going to come up and you're going to get some sort of, okay, I recognize this. And remember this. And I acknowledge it. Whether it's in psychology or neurolinguistics, neurosocial conditioning, any type of psychology that you can name, or any type of philosophy you can name, they always say the same thing, and it's true. Awareness is always the first step. You see, remember what I said before, a habit most of the time is unconscious, and you're not aware of it. You're not aware that you're doing that. You're not really aware of the consequences. You're not really aware of yourself talking yourself out of it. You're not really aware of what's going on. But as soon as you write it down, you become aware. And when you become aware, your brain starts going, oh, let me do something about this. Because it knows the difference between something good and bad. And just the intention of sitting down and doing it in the first place, just sitting down and doing this exercise, your brain is going to get excited about doing something about it. Now, once you've listed everything, take a break, walk away from it. And what's going to happen is your brain is going to start to think, oh, I got all these things going on. I got all these things. And you might even get a little bit of a bad feeling as you're doing that, because some people, if you got a lot of bad habits, like I used to, by the way, your brain is going to go, wow, I'm really screwed up. I got all this stuff. It's too much stuff. That's overwhelm. And I want you to be overwhelmed in this place. I want you to get to the place where you're like, oh, I got all this stuff to do. Because when you're in overwhelm, that is the time, that's the place that you get to do step number 2. Once you write your list, all I want you to do is, like I said, take a break. Step number 2 is to take a break. Stand up and shake yourself out. All I want you to do is just stand up and shake yourself out. You're going to do this in one setting, by the way. Sit down, write down all of your bad habits, and then you're going to stand up and you're going to shake yourself out. Why? Because you're going to interrupt that pattern, the pattern of overwhelm. Anytime you're in any kind of a pattern of thought, of feeling, of moving, we're stuck in that for a moment. And most of us don't realize that all we have to do is just stand up and shake ourselves out. And at the very least, in that moment that you shake yourself out, you're no longer in that pattern. The analogy I always use is, imagine yourself sitting on your couch and you're watching television, and then all of a sudden you see an infomercial or something, and you want to go, you got to go into the kitchen and get an ink pen or something, or a pad, so that you can write down the number of that. And you're sitting there, and in that, you're in a pattern of focus, looking at the television. Your brain is going, I want to do this. Your brain is focused on whatever that product is, and your brain goes pen, ink pen, kitchen. And as soon as you stand up, 2 very important things happen. Number 1, you're no longer in that pattern of focus. You're no longer thinking about that. The second thing that happens is that you create something called a scotoma, which is a blank spot in your brain. Because we've all done this. You're thinking, I got to get this, and you stand up and you go into the kitchen, you're in the kitchen going, what the hell did I come in here for? And you can't remember what you came in there for. It's because you interrupted the pattern. Well, understand this. As soon as you create that scotoma, your brain is a vacuum. And that is what nature wants to do to a vacuum all the time, is fill it up. And all I want you to do is, when you stand up, this is all part of step number 2. When you stand up and shake yourself out, all I want you to do is smile. I know this sounds simple. Like I said, it's going to be simple. Because as soon as you smile, what is the brain doing? The brain is going, why did I stand up? What's going on? As soon as it's doing that, it's no longer frustrated. It's no longer overwhelmed. It's no longer thinking about all the bad stuff. It's got a hole in it, and your brain goes, what do I want? And as soon as you smile, dopamine release, adrenaline release. As soon as you smile and you take a deep breath, it releases that into your system, and you replace that feeling in this moment with something that is optimistic. Now, the third thing that you're going to do is you're going to go sit down and you're going to write down, the third thing that you're going to do is you're going to prioritize that list of habits. And when you prioritize, you're going to go, okay, well, the number one thing I got to do is is a habit of smoking cigarettes, or a habit of overeating, or the habit of whatever it is. You're going to prioritize it, because some habits are just little habits, not taking out the trash, or not turning around and picking up after yourself, or something like that. But whatever it is, we're going to work on all of them. But the top three, you're going to find a couple. But the top three, you're going to prioritize them. So number one, you list it. Number two, you stand up, shake yourself out. Number three, you prioritize it. And I want you to just prioritize it with a smile on your face. You're already going to feel better, because now you're going to feel hopeful. And then the fourth thing is that you are going to write the antithesis, the opposite, or what you want of at least the top three. So again, I'm using smoking cigarettes, overeating, or procrastinating, or whatever, because that's low-hanging fruit and everybody can understand that. So if you say smoking cigarettes, what is the opposite of smoking cigarettes? Okay, it's not stop smoking cigarettes. See, I see people do that all the time. Stop doing this, stop doing that, stop doing that. That doesn't work, because your brain goes, stop doing what? Oh, cigarettes. Oh, I remember cigarettes. Oh, this feels good. We don't stop doing something. We interrupt the pattern and start doing something else. So instead of stopping smoking cigarettes, what would be something that would be healthier for you? Drinking a glass of water, or going for a walk, or eating something healthy, or whatever, anything. Use your imagination. I want you, because remember, the searching process is the rewiring process. And when you rewire your brain, you rewire yourself, your nervous system has no other choice but to follow the rewire. So when you're seeking out different things, what else could I do? First off, is you're going to go, why didn't I think about that before? Oh, I could do that. I could do that. I could do that. And so now that's step number 4, is list everything, list the antithesis, what you would want on the top 3 ones on your list. Step number 4 is you want to schedule doing the antithesis. I don't care when it is you're going to schedule doing the antithesis. I keep using that word, doing the opposite, the thing that you wrote down, drinking a glass of water, or going for a walk, or riding a bicycle, or making that phone call, or doing whatever. Schedule it for at least once a day. Now, what happens is, as soon as you schedule it, your brain goes, oh, okay, I got something to look forward to. Okay, I'm going to do this. Now remember, this is all in sequence, because you've interrupted your pattern. You've replaced it with something good. Now you know what else you're going to do. And now when you schedule it, and how I always tell people to schedule things is to use your phone. Use your cell phone. Put it in Siri. Remind me to do my new habit. Because this is the key right here. Once you've done all those things, your body is prepared for it. Now you're looking forward. When that alarm goes off, all you got to do is one time. Go eat a piece of celery, or go do something else. I don't care if you have done the bad habit a dozen times or whatever. What's going to happen is your brain is going to start looking forward to that. Now, once you do that, on those top 3, just do whatever it is. I don't care how difficult it is or how easy it is. Just do it. Then you move to the last step. You know what the last step, if you've been around me at all, you know the last step is always to praise yourself. Praise yourself for having just even done it once. Yes, I did that. It doesn't matter that you smoked cigarettes before or even after. You've done it at least once. And then you schedule it again. Because here's what happens, is you've gone through those processes, you list it, you interrupt the pattern, you prioritize it, you write down the antithesis, and then you schedule it and do something about it on that schedule, and then praise yourself. Then what happens is this becomes what's called a processional, reoccurring event in your unconscious mind. Because remember, that's where it used to live. And what happens is you're going to find your brain starting to look forward to doing, because all you had to do is once, right? Then tomorrow you're going to do it twice. The next day you do it 3 times, and you start to find yourself doing it more. But here's the greatest part about it. When the bad habit starts to show up, when the craving for the bad habit starts to show up, guess what happens? You will have already conditioned yourself to interrupt that pattern. And by the way, anytime you feel bad, anytime you're feeling that craving or whatever, just stand up and shake yourself out for the reasons that I told you before. And what'll happen is, because you're doing that now, remember, we do what already works. The best way to change people is using what already works. And what already works is repetition. What already works is doing something with praise. What already works is doing it And first off, acknowledging it and doing it, and then recognizing that you're doing it, that's already works. It already starts to become automatic within inside of you. This is such a great exercise, and it's so simple. It doesn't involve, you having to pay a lot of money. You can do this on your own. And the beauty of it is it becomes a new habit. Now, obviously, we did the top 3, and then once you do those and you start to get on that roll, then what's going to happen is 2 things are going to happen. You can go to the next ones down the list, but it starts to become what we call geometrically growing, and it starts to be global. Meaning, if you work on cigarettes, then guess what? It's also going to have an effect on overeating. It's going to have an effect on procrastination and all those things. As long as you praise yourself, as long as you give yourself some sort of reward, it is critical. Now, all of these steps are super simple, but I'm going to warn you, they're easy not to do as well. So it's up to you. It's up to you. The reason I had you write them down is so that you have them. Schedule it. You see, when you want to do something, when you say you're going to do something, you have willpower. But willpower doesn't get results. Everybody will do something. We say we will stop eating. We say we will stop smoking. We say we will make this phone call tomorrow. But that's not what gets it done. What gets things done is do power. And so this is the do. Lastly, you know how I roll. Well, first off, thank you for your trust in this. Thank you for your time and your energy in doing this. And what's so great is that we get so much great feedback from people that just do it, that actually sit down and do it. Now it's your turn. So lastly, I'll say, remember, life is exactly what you dare to make it, and fortune favors the bold. Whatever fortune is for you, and the trick to life is to help you go further faster, is to boldly step up and dare to make your life magnificent. You're the one that's in control. I love you. I look forward to serving you, and I'll see you at the top.